Nike has just made one of the most shocking blunders in recent memory, and it's blowing up all over social media. After their big Super Bowl commercial, where fans were expecting a massive win for both the brand and one of the biggest stars in women's sports, Caitlin Clark, something went terribly wrong. Caitlin Clark was front and center in that ad, looking like the absolute superstar she is, and fans were hyped. But just when you thought Nike couldn't mess this up, they did. Big time. Here's the crazy part. Right after that commercial dropped, Nike followed it up with a t-shirt promo. Sounds fine, right? Except they completely ignored Caitlin Clark. No mention. Nothing. Zip. Nada. They included every other athlete for the Super Bowl ad, but Caitlin? Left out in the cold. Fans are furious, and it's not looking good for Nike. So let's break it down. Super Bowl Sunday, right? Nike releases this massive commercial. The spotlight's on Caitlin Clark, and fans are losing their minds with excitement. Finally, it felt like Nike was giving a spotlight to one of the most dominant athletes in the world of women's sports. Fans are hyped. Social media is on fire. Caitlin Clark, the record breaker, the woman who's been absolutely crushing it in the women's basketball world, is finally getting her well-deserved recognition. But then cue the confusion. Nike releases another promo, this time for a commemorative t-shirt. It's got images of the athletes from the Super Bowl ad, and Caitlin Clark should have been the star, right? But no, not a word. Fans waited, and waited, and waited. But Caitlin Clark's name? Nowhere to be found. How does that happen? Nike got it so right in the commercial, and then they dropped the ball with a promo where they just act like Caitlin doesn't exist. I mean, come on, can you believe it? All the athletes in that commercial get shout-outs. But Caitlin Clark, the only one whose name should have been plastered everywhere after her breakout moment in the Super Bowl ad? Crickets. And trust me, fans noticed. Not only did they notice, they were furious. One fan tweeted, "Why wasn't Caitlin Clark's name even mentioned?" Now, that's a question I think everyone's asking. Nike dropped the ball big time. I mean, if you're going to feature someone in your ad, you should at least acknowledge them when you release products with their image, right? It's basic stuff. But it wasn't just a few confused fans. Oh no, the backlash was huge. One fan hit back hard, saying, if you're not even going to mention her name while you mention everyone else, you might as well drop her and let her sign with a company that truly values her. Ouch! Can you feel the burn? Nike? Then the internet went absolutely wild. Social media was flooded with angry fans calling Nike out for what they saw as a blatant disrespect to Caitlin Clark. Some fans even referred to the situation as magical PR fail with some humor, calling Caitlin Lord Voldemort, because it was like her name couldn't even be spoken. That's the level of frustration we're dealing with here. Now, this isn't just a one-off mistake. Oh no, fans are noticing a trend, and they're mad. This whole situation fits into a disturbing pattern of how Nike's been treating Caitlin Clark. From constant delays in sneaker releases to half-hearted marketing, Nike just can't seem to figure out how to properly support one of the biggest stars in women's basketball. It's as if Caitlin Clark, despite her record-breaking career and massive fanbase, doesn't get the respect she deserves. People are starting to wonder, is this personal? I mean, Nike's PR department doesn't exactly have a shining reputation when it comes to treating women athletes fairly. But this is a whole new level of tone-deaf marketing. Fans are so upset that they're talking about boycotting Nike. It's a serious movement, and they're saying, no Caitlin Clark mention? No money from me. Some fans are even taking to Twitter to declare they'll be investing their money elsewhere, putting their support behind brands that truly value Caitlin Clark and women's sports. Nike's Super Bowl commercial? It was the pinnacle of what looked like a major win for the brand. But then this gaffe happens. Less than 24 hours after the ad aired, the backlash started to build, and now Nike's social media presence is in full damage control mode. Fans are demanding answers, and this is no small matter. The uproar is so loud that it's hard for Nike to ignore. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Remember how I said fans were on a mission? Well, they're not just tweeting their frustrations, they're organizing. It's turning into a full-blown movement with hashtags, petitions, and demands for Nike to step up and acknowledge Caitlin Clark properly. These aren't just a few disgruntled fans. They're on a mission to hold Nike accountable for their major screw-up. But you know what? I'm not even blaming Nike itself at this point. I think it's time to point the finger at the people who are supposed to be handling this in Nike's PR and marketing departments. They're the ones who've clearly dropped the ball on Caitlin Clark, and the whole world is noticing. If Caitlin Clark's agent had been part of the right team, this entire ad campaign would have been flawless. But here we are. Nike had one of the greatest athletes in the world ready to shine, and they blew it. Fans aren't just annoyed. They're actively working to make sure Nike feels this mistake in their wallets. They're ready to turn their backs on the brand. And with the way things are going, Nike might be looking at some real financial consequences. It's bad enough that Caitlin Clark was excluded from the t-shirt ad. But comparing her to Lord Voldemort? That's some next-level mess-up. It's like Nike went out of their way to make Caitlin Clark feel like she's invisible in their brand's eyes, despite all of her success and talent. And trust me, fans are not having it. It's like Nike's been so focused on avoiding controversy that they've created the ultimate PR nightmare. By ignoring Caitlin Clark in this t-shirt promo, they've set themselves up for an uproar that they can't just walk away from. This isn't going away, and it's not just a small blip on the radar, it's a major story. What's wild about all this is that it's not just about one ad. Fans are connecting the dots, and they don't like what they see. They're now seeing a pattern of disrespect towards Caitlin Clark that goes beyond just this one mistake. This is about Nike's consistent failure to properly support one of the brightest stars in women's sports. And the backlash? It's growing faster than Caitlin Clark's highlights. The call for justice is getting louder by the minute. Fans are starting petitions, writing open letters, and spreading the word. Nike has to make this right, or they risk losing a loyal fan base forever. It's not just this one time. Nike has messed up multiple times in how they've handled Caitlin Clark. From delayed product drops to half-hearted marketing, it's clear that they don't have a plan in place for how to elevate someone like Caitlin Clark, who is changing the game for women in sports. And fans are done with it. So here's the deal. Nike needs to make this right. The fans are demanding it. Caitlin Clark deserves better, and everyone knows it. This isn't just a misstep. It's part of a bigger problem. Nike has an opportunity to fix this, but if they don't, they'll be facing a massive PR nightmare that could cost them much more than just Caitlin Clark's endorsement. The clock is ticking, and fans are watching closely. What do you think? Will Nike learn from this mistake, or will they keep fumbling their chance to support one of the most talented athletes in the world? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates on this unfolding drama. Stay tuned.